So we've talked about the holiday break in games for a while, whether it be Arc Raiders, Battlefield, COD, you name it. Most of the games industry and their studios went on holiday break from anywhere from mid-December to early January here, as a normal schedule would indicate. But with those gaps, we often see those untouched downtimes often bring out some issues that the community will start to see more and more, snowballing perhaps into larger and larger annoyances or problems depending on what it is, given no active upkeep to monitor and tackle those. Well, Arc Raiders was no different. There have been a handful of things that definitely required attention via an update and patch, and well, today we got one. But with a small catch. It might not be the patch you were fully looking for. Today we're taking a look at the changes and additions here that came along with this update for Arc Raiders and what's still potentially on the way. So drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Arc Raiders and other FPS content. I would love to have you in the community, but for now, let's get into it. So update 1.11, this is something that has, in all honesty, only 4 different bullet points in regards to changes for the game. Mentions a couple of other things, but in regards to updates and gameplay changes, we saw 2 things across: combat tuning and then 2 additional balancing fixes here that we see that we'll get to in a second. But first, for the combat tuning, we firstly saw the kettle. That was adjusted after a week or 2 of discussion here that was acknowledged by the developers, where they said they reduced the fire rate from 600 to 450. The previous fire rate was only realistically reachable by players using macros, which creates an unfair dynamic that favors using third-party software. Now this, again, kind of a much-needed change to a degree, right? Like kettle macro spam, genuine problem depending on what matchmaking bracket you're in. Same thing with a lot of PvP elements, depends on what matchmaking you're getting. Most passive PvE sort of centric players, they won't end up seeing this a lot, but if you're looking for combat, you probably have seen this a couple of times. However, that fire rate cap is now a drastic reduction across the board, whether you are somebody that does PvP or you're just using a kettle to take out some of those arc enemies when they open up and show their weak points. Certainly, it's going to cut down and remove the chance of any unfair dynamic via macros, but it's even noticeable for those that have a relatively quick trigger finger on mouse or controller. So it's definitely a drastic change, and after spamming for a bit here in the practice range, it almost feels like there also could be a maybe sweet spot to hit that max. Kind of almost like a recenter speed, but for a trigger delay, kind of. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but it did feel like you could maybe push it a little further, but at the same time, it also could just be because it is that hard cap almost. But your kettle kind of eviscerated with this update in the fire rate. The trigger nade, it was mentioned, is currently dominating PvP encounters, and players favor picking it over all other grenades. The nerf for this aims to make it less usable as a trigger in the air grenade, whilst keeping it useful as a sticky bomb. Damage falloff has been rebalanced to concentrate the damage closer to the center of the explosion and deal less damage further away, while the delay between triggering the grenade and detonating it has been increased from 0.7 seconds to 1.5 seconds, giving players more time to react and making it harder for that time to detonate in the air. And of course, this then gives you more visual time to recognize, oh crap, that's a trigger grenade coming at me, but also it limits the amount of mid-air explosions you may see now, because likely, unless you're just chucking it downfield, you're probably going to see a lot of those grenades land either right around the 1.5 second mark or not until that point. So this giving a bit more time to react in all capacities. Haven't come into too many encounters since this update went live earlier this morning just yet with them that I ended up noticing that the splash range is noticeably better or worse, but on paper they did say that the radius should be a bit more of a drop off as opposed to what it was a bit more deadly before the update. Now, beyond that, we talked about how there wasn't a ton in relation to the quantity of updates. The only other things we see changed with this explicitly stated were a fix for key exploits that allowed players to keep room keys after using them, and the lighting has been lowered in some areas on Stellamontis Night Raid to make flashlights and listening even more relevant. So minor changes in that grand scheme of things, but outside of the changes, we did see 2 things in relation to content we can talk about real briefly. Firstly, a free Raider tool. This is available for anyone who's logged in from the launch of the game up until today at 5:59 p.m. Eastern, 2:59 p.m. Pacific, and 11:59 CET. Not entirely sure when this video will go up. As it's published, it could be something that time could be in the past, it could be upcoming, it could be right at, but either way, if you check your inbox, you've logged into the game, you'll have a message from Embark saying, hey, here's a free Raider tool. Thanks for celebrating 10 million sales and 10 million players with us. Though it was mentioned that they've already breezed past that. They've already gone to 12 mil and up, which is definitely cool to see. But beyond that, we also saw the uniform set of the Abyss, that coming for 1,600 Raider tokens. This was one of those ones from the very beginning trailers that we saw that I think the clip went viral of a quick shot of a player on Stellamontis or something with this. But since then, everyone's like, where is it? I need it. every single shop update that comes along. It's finally here. It comes with the outfit set that includes 3 colorways, toggleable items of the canister, flippers, helmet, and life vest, along with a face cosmetic of the Kraken tattoo, a backpack charm of the depth gauge, and an emote called the diving bell. Still loving my basics Forza Raider rank outfit, but this one's the first one that I'm probably like in the shop. Okay, I'll consider that. I don't know if I'll get it or not, but it does have my attention with that helmet. It does look pretty cool. But that is the update that we had here for update 1.11 or 1.11. That said, not quite as hefty an update as many players perhaps expected, right? I mean, we're still missing out on some of the discussion about further weapon tuning. I'm not sure how it will be, but the Stitcher was explicitly mentioned as having some adjustments, but not in this update we see it. There's still plenty of fixes required in regards to gameplay, whether that be anti-cheat among the topics of discussion lately. Seems like bans are starting to go out in more frequent sort of waves of them, where 30-day bans are first, then permabans. I don't know what preventative measures, though, are being made to be updated here at this, but in fairness, those are never really telegraphed to the player base for the sake of cheat developers not having any information on what could help them bypass the anti-cheat. We also have a ton of out-of-map exploits. We have some things with the crafting issues that it resets down to 1 whenever you try and select a specific number. There's a lot of different bugs and glitches and stuff that still do need fixed. Things that I'm sure a lot of people probably expected to be coming with the next update, i.e. the update today. But on top of that, personally, this is pure hope. I think logically we should also be coming up on a new content update, right? Like, for context, the last substantial update that we had was the Cold Snap update on the 16th of December, a month ago. But arguably, the last big update per se was all the way back on November 13th. 2 months ago to the day when Stella Montis was introduced. That bringing a whole new map with it, the Matriarch, Shredder, added the Aphelion if I'm not mistaken, and a few other smaller things along with that. So while an event and such is nice, we're also now at the 2-month mark of a major update of sorts, one that I'm hoping is the sort of sign that we have another thing coming in the near future. I'm really not sure what the expected cadence is for like new maps and locations, weapon updates, or archetypes, but after 2 months, I hope we're nearing when we'll at least learn more about that, right? Or at the least getting close to like a future roadmap. Again, pure great hopium as the youths would say these days, but all in all, the update was good where the updates were focused, and it was much needed for a subset of the audience, especially those who run PvP all the time. But end of the day, I do think this update should have been a little bigger and tackled more items. Now, it very well could have been a situation of, hey, we're going to get these game-breaking things or game-altering things fixed as soon as possible. We'll tackle the other things when they're ready. But just so we're not waiting where imbalance is off-putting to players, we're going to push these out. It very well could be something like that. So maybe this judgment is a bit too quick, but without that omnipotent power, from an immediate glance, this update may not have met expectations as our first update in about a month's time. Or, I mean, not really, because we did have the new console command fix, but that was a really small update that was really focused, but you get the point. So what do you think of this update here for Arc Raiders? Do you like what you saw change with this update? Do you think there should have been more? Are you happy with the size of the update? Let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it idle and insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Arc Raiders and all things FPS content. I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.